Welcome to Secret Story. Andrea stood with her back to the shower head with the hot water soothing her backside. She had her legs spread. She was for the first time in her life after she trimmed her full with her husband James' beard trimmer just minutes before. She rinsed herself, then turned the water off, grabbing her towel. She dried off, then stepped out of the shower, standing in front of the mirror to inspect her handiwork. Not bad, she smiled, bending over. She put her long wavy black hair into the towel, then stood back up, taking in her 25-year-old body. Not bad, even if I do say so myself. What she got that I don't? She said as tears filled her eyes again. It had been a few hours since the Latina beauty had received a text from her friend Rachel telling her something no woman wants to hear, that her husband was screwing around on her with Kathy, the wife of one of his friends. After the shock and hurt overwhelmed her, her temper began to boil, and now, it was raging. She'd also hatched a plan to deliver her revenge. James headed to the dining room having just pulled a beer from the fridge. Hearing his phone ping, he stopped and opened the text. "Holy shit, that's hot," he whispered as he watched a short clip of Kathy. Immediately another text came through. "Thinking of you, lover boy." He read that. He closed the screen and headed to join the guys at the poker table. "It's about time. You gonna play or with your phone?" Hank, Kathy's husband, asked. "I'm here, aren't I?" James pushed back, secretly smiling inside thinking about the clip Hank's cheating wife just sent him. "Good, let's play," Tom chimed in. James took the last seat at the table across from Hank. Tom and Sam sat to his right, with Henry, from work, to his left. "Texas Hold 'em, boys," James said, putting the deck in front of Tom to cut. Andrea finished with her lipstick and then stood to look in the mirror. She'd been getting ready for tonight for over an hour as the boys started showing up and getting the poker night festivities going. Her wavy black hair framed her pretty face beautifully. She wore a shiny golden open-back club dress that was cut very low, running down to her belly. The gold went beautifully with her dark, olive skin. She wore black fishnet stockings with a red garter belt and gold 4-inch heels. Her lips glowed bright shiny red as did her fingernails and toenails. "Yes, this will do nicely, Andrea," she smiled to herself. "They're gonna melt and want every inch of you," she added, grabbing the red velvet bag from the vanity. She headed out of the master suite, and then to the kitchen. She reached and opened a cabinet door, pulling down a bottle of tequila with a shot glass. As she listened to the men banter back and forth in the dining room, she poured a shot of courage and threw it back, then poured another as she hissed from the burn in her throat. "Here goes," she whispered as she headed to join them and get her revenge on her cheating husband. Andrea walked into the dining room and stood next to James, putting her hand on his shoulder and looking around the room. Before long, all the men looked up and the room became deathly quiet, causing James to look up at her. He knew it was her, but when his eyes reached her, he gasped. "Jesus Christ! What in the hell are you doing in here dressed like that?" he asked her, his voice rising, his face turning red. "You don't like how I look, baby?" she asked, looking around at all the others at the table. "Hell no, I don't like it," he replied. "You boys like what you see?" she asked them. "Yes." Henry laughed. "Andrea, you're so in that get-up," Hank followed after Sam and Tom chimed in with a thumbs up. She looked back down at James. "Guess you're outnumbered," she told him before leaning down to whisper in his ear. "I know about Kathy, you cheating," she sneered into his ear. "What? Who? What are you talking about?" he stuttered. "Open your phone, you son, let me see what you have on it," she ordered as she grabbed the phone and stood up straight. "Oh, Andrea, I can explain," he tried to start. "You shut the up, you cheating," she snapped as she opened the last message, the short clip of Kathy. "Boys, tonight is your lucky night," she said out loud as she began to walk around the table to where Hank was sitting. "Andrea, no," James pled, knowing the shit was about to hit the fan. "Shut the up," she shouted as she reached Hank. "Hank, baby, I'm going to show you something, but I want you to promise that you won't do anything until you help me get my revenge on this cheating. Can you do that?" I guess, what the is going on, Andrea?" he asked. Andrea, no. Please don't do this. James pleaded. I told you to shut up. You and I will talk once all these guys have used me while you watch, then maybe you can clean them out of me, but that's all you have to say, she snapped. Hank, look at this is why I am here, dressed like. Because it seems my husband like, she told him before opening the clip. Dude, is this for real? He growled as he tried to stand. Don't, I have a better idea, Andrea told him. What's better than beating the out of this asshole? Hank replied, still trying to stand. Use me like in front of him, she told him calmly. What? All 5 men asked in unison. That's right, you heard right. As long as you can get it up, you can use me, she told them all. No way is that going to happen, James angrily stated. I told you to shut the up, we're likely headed to a divorce, and it will be so much worse if you don't participate in this. Do you understand you cheating? She snapped back. Jesus, how'd you find out about this? He asked. Never you mind, she told him coldly. Hank, you can do anything you want when you leave, maybe you'll knock me up, wouldn't that be the perfect revenge on these 2 cheaters? She asked. Jesus, you're pure evil, Hank replied. I didn't start this, she told him as she headed back to where James was sitting, bending over to whisper in his ear again, you will do this and endure it or I will take you for everything, she told him. He's fingering me, baby, you pitiful cheating. She hissed into James' ear. Jesus, is this really happening? James asked defeatedly. Yes, it is, now take this, she told him, handing him the velvet bag. What is it? He asked as he pulled it open, are you serious? He pushed back. It's because I don't give a shit about you now. Put it in, she ordered as she turned, I am now. Once he disgraced me like he did, he doesn't deserve a loyal wife. Remind me never to piss you off, Tom answered. She rose and reached behind her neck. Let's get this party started, she said, then looked at James. You will do what I say, and I will be fair with the divorce. She growled loud enough for all to hear. Yes, James replied, looking down as he did. Yes, ma'am, he answered, locking eyes with her. That didn't take you long, she laughed. She looked around, she chuckled, looking into his eyes. Well, let's just say you won't be disappointed, he replied, flashing her with a white toothy grin. Okay, come gather around me, Andrea told them as she walked into the den. When you do that? James asked. About an hour after I found out about you cheating this morning. Should have done that sooner, he complimented her. Okay, now get your phone, we're gonna give Kathy a taste of her own medicine, Andrea told James. What are you thinking? James asked as he picked his phone up from the table. Well, you're going to make a clip to send to her, Andrea answered and led him to an open part of the den. I love it, Hank replied. You're unbelievable, James told her as he got his phone ready. Now, get ready boys. You ready? He asked. Oh, yes, I'm ready. James held Andrea's hands as she eased into the hot water of the whirlpool tub in the master bathroom. That's it, just sit here and sip the wine, let the water do its thing, he said softly as he let go of her hands and settled in behind her. I can't believe that happened, even if it was my idea. I had no idea it would turn into something so hot, so amazing, she said as she leaned against him. It was something else, James said softly. So, what does this mean for us? He asked her. Well, this afternoon I was done with you, but after everything that happened, maybe we've uncovered something we both can enjoy, together, Andrea said, leaning back against him in the tub. You think so? He asked. Yeah, but no more around behind my back, that really hurt, Andrea told him. No more, never again. James assured her, kissing her on the back of the head. Good, Andrea smiled. By the way, Kathy wants the next poker game at her house, and she's invited you if you want to go. Ha, she does she? Well, we will just have to see about that, but it sounds like a good idea. Yes, it does. It does indeed.